it's Ellie, welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today I am back building in Summit Sanctuary, doing something completely different than I was in the previous episode, naturally, as is the way of this series. So today I am working on the lemur house again. So I started this a while ago, and I mentioned when I started this in the speed build series, I struggled a lot with this area. Okay, it was such a big area that I was trying to make look mostly natural, and it just, you know, there was a lot of things that I just wasn't feeling good about in a way. So yeah, it was just a struggle. I didn't know what to do for a lot of this, but I did eventually find my way, and it just took a little bit of time, that's all. So it's coming along. This is probably 2/3 of the way through the completion of this lemur house. So the rest of it is later on, unfortunately. But I do actually finish the Treetop Cafe, which is the restaurant inside the lemur house, which you can somewhat see in the background there. So you will get to see that cinematic at the end of this episode, which I'm very much looking forward to, because it turned out so cool, I think. I think it's really unique. I'm excited to share it with everyone. But for now, what I'm doing... So I had this idea, and I've read... At the time, I think Barnyard had only recently come out, because this recording is in May? Actually, Barnyard might not have even come out yet. When did Barnyard come out? Hold on, I'm gonna do a quick search and figure this out while I continue to talk, and hopefully you can't hear my keyboard too badly. When Barnyard came out, I read a lot of the discourse about April 30th. Okay, yeah. I read a lot of the discourse about how the people were like really crowding the animals, and it was stressing the animals out, even though these animals are good with the people and their interactions. Like, they're labeled as confident with humans and not shy. And obviously you can interact with them, so they're friendly enough to kind of have random people around them all the time. But it was so new at the time that the AI wasn't, the kinks weren't really worked out yet, and I don't know if they have been at this point, honestly. No clue. I don't really play the game that often to know. So I was worried that in my lemur habitat, because it's got such a big space, that the animals would get stressed out by the people. Kind of, a lot of people would enter the habitat at once and kind of take over the whole space, right? Because when I originally built this, it's just a walkthrough. There was no animal interaction, and so I made this huge path and this huge building thinking, you know, the people will be at the center, but the animals still have safe spaces away from the people. So there's lots of chance for, you know, the people to get the close view of the lemurs and other primates, but they still couldn't walk through the entire habitat. And obviously with the interaction features, that's not the case anymore. They can walk off the pathway. And I was like, oh, well, we don't want them to be so pervasive everywhere in the habitat. Guests, right? Because that's not, it's not comfortable for the animals. So what I ended up doing, and I don't think I did it at this point yet, but what I ended up doing is this giant, sort of weirdly shaped raised area I have in the center of the habitat that I just built. I ended up putting guest gates all around that under the ground, and I'm hoping that doesn't mess anything up too badly for the zookeepers. But my intent is that this area is only traversable for the animals, and that's where all of their climbing stuff is. Also, so it doesn't look weird. It looks like a playground almost for the lemurs, and people would kind of hopefully line up around it and see what's going on. But it's just, I haven't tested it yet, so I really hope it works as intended. Like, I've been playing long enough, I have a fairly good idea of the guest behavior and the AI behavior for them in terms of like the limitations of the game, but every once in a while they do something stupid. Or they do something that I don't realize, like basically walk onto the vista point and take a picture of it in a weird way. Like, I thought they would take a picture of the vista point, not on the vista point, if that makes sense. But that's like a small thing. I don't really typically use vista points in my zoos because I'm not... Again, I don't really actually play it, so I don't really care all that often if the guests actually go to a certain area or not. But I am trying to be conscious that, you know, people might want to open this zoo and just kind of enjoy it for a little bit, and it's hard to enjoy it if the guests are doing something dumb. Like, I watch the lady designer and her tours of other people's zoos, and I know when the guests are getting stuck in random places. It's quite annoying, kind of, to have that in the background of your ear. So yeah, my hope is that everything will work as intended. I'm sure it won't, because that's just the way of things like this. But for the most part, I don't do anything too crazy that's gonna break the game, as far as I know. So right now I am, as I mentioned, working on the Treetop Cafe. Again, I started building it before I put the floor down. I put the glass down, which took a while, and in this episode I go in and actually put some details around. Now, I have made a mistake here, and I haven't... It's one of those things where, like, you kind of need to build up the willpower to go fix it, which is, I thought for some reason that these pieces were climbable. And I swear I filtered for climbable objects, but when I put the lemurs in, they couldn't use this bamboo structure that I'm making right now. What I wanted, right, was for the animals to literally be able to walk around the restaurant on these bamboo pieces. And that would have been really cool, and I think it will be cool if I ever decide to go back and fix it. The problem is, I don't know why I have made such an oversight, or if it's like just something in the game that's being a little funny, but all of the wall pieces that I made for the animals to climb on are made of this bamboo, and they can't use any of the pieces, so it's kind of a nightmare, because I spent a lot of time making this whole wall maze or pathway or whatever to go through that, and yeah, it just didn't exactly work out like that, unfortunately. But yeah, so you might have already seen some of this. I don't know where I put this in, if I have shown a cinematic for this yet. I haven't done the cinematics for the last couple episodes, so I'm unsure if I will add this section in this episode or in the previous episode, where it makes a little bit more sense, because I was kind of working on the pool area then as well. But yeah, this is adjacent to the giant pool, which is just outside the lemur habitat. I was I got to a point somewhere in the middle of the year where I was feeling overwhelmed because I had done a lot of little, I guess I shouldn't say little. I had done a lot of like big layouts. I had done a lot of big areas and then left them and not put the detail into them. So there's like this giant space, right, that just has nothing in it. And every time I open my zoo to build in it, I see this space, and at some point I just sat down one day and I was like, I need to figure out what's gonna go here because it looks stupid right now, and it bothers me when I see it, because some of the other spaces are so sort of detailed and completed in their finality, and then you have this space. I don't think I talked about those last episode when I was doing that though. So those are the education billboard things, but I was trying to make it so, like, you know, there's some text on the side, and then you pull the tab up, which is usually like a wooden, like a circular or a square wooden piece that is on hinges, and you kind of like lift it up to see what's underneath, like a question and answer type of thing, or trivia facts, and it's just a little bit more interactive for people to kind of engage with the zoo a little bit more. And so that's what I was trying to do with those little education pieces. I don't have high hopes that the guests are actually going to walk over here. There are plenty of interactable things, like the kids' soundboards and stuff, and obviously the education boards, but like I said, I don't think the guests are actually going to walk over here. This is one of the places where I just didn't really bother because there's almost no way, unless they were out there to look at the otters. That's the only way we're going to get guests over there, so I don't know, we'll see. That is one of the things that is a wait and see of this zoo. This is just another like terrarium type of structure. It's not enclosed, it's just got glass over it. I don't know, it's growing. I've definitely seen things like this before, but I have no idea what to call it other than a terrarium. I don't think there is. I'm sure there's another name for it, but I don't know it. But yeah, anyway, next episode is going to be very exciting because we're going to look at a lot of the different habitats and see many of the animals. I'm very excited for that. I think the deer habitat is honestly one of my favorite habitats I've built, just because I love the way that, especially like towards the back end, like you can see the fence a little bit, but it doesn't really feel like you're in a zoo habitat, and I like that. I think it's very serene in a way. Oh, here's something I should mention. I don't like building climbing structures. Okay? I don't know why. I just really don't like it. It feels tedious to me, which doesn't make sense because I do a million other tedious things in this game to build. But for some reason, the climbing structures in particular, I don't have any fun building them. They never look right to me, so pretty much for the duration of this zoo, I'm just using the blueprint, the frontier blueprints for the climbing structures, because there's nothing wrong with them, you know? And frankly, they probably work a little bit better in general because they're made by the game devs, so they work as intended, whereas I know sometimes when I try to build climbing structures, the animals do some very, very funky things, like to change to a different climbing structure or to get off the climbing structure or whatever it is. Sometimes they do weird things and they look very strange when that happens. There's a lot of clipping and a lot of occasional like stretching of the model and whatnot. So you know what, I'm just gonna use the Frontier blueprints because I am fine with that. I don't care. It is what it is, and as I said, I think they're gonna work out better than anything I would build anyway, so yeah. So for this Treetop Hotel, or Treetop Cafe, basically my intention is, it's a second story hotel, right? Why do I keep saying hotel? It's a second story cafe. It's not on the ground floor, so there is a stair entrance, but there's also naturally an elevator. Don't look underneath and expect to find an actual elevator lobby or anything, because there isn't one. I didn't build that. It just, the door goes directly into the restaurant facility, and then, you know, as they do, the guests just teleport up here to where the tables are. Won't be any people walking around. They can't use any of the other furniture that I build, like this bar here or anything like that, but I think it's still gonna look so cool with the guests sitting up here, and hopefully when I eventually go back and change it, having the little lemurs just like walking right outside the restaurant on their little climbing structure. It's just gonna look so cool in the final tour video. I'm really, really looking forward to having actual guests and everything, and like, especially with the cinematics that I do at the end of these episodes. Like, I'm not done with the zoo yet, and I know that they're lacking some detail, and especially like all the billboards and the screens that I have, which I just end up leaving blank because I'm not ready to go through and fill them all, because if I do it now, I'm gonna miss one, guaranteed, thinking I already filled them all, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna, at the end, do like a 3-time tour of my zoo on my own and figure out where all the billboards are and everything that I need to make in Photoshop. Because yes, I am spending all that extra time on this zoo. I am gonna make legitimate signs for my restaurants and whatnot. I may make a few educational boards. I'm not sure yet. I have done it before and enjoyed the way that they bring some unique features to my zoo, but I don't know if I want to go that far with all of the other work that I've been doing in this zoo, to be completely honest. Now that I am so near the end of this zoo in my timeline, I am feeling a little bit like ready to move on. Not that I dislike working on the zoo or anything, I'm just getting excited about my new projects because I'm thinking about them so that I can plan for them. Like, I just did a whole map for my New England zoo, and I've been looking through ideas for that. So it's just, you know, when you get to the end of a project, even though you're very excited to, you know, have worked on the project for all this time, you are still excited for something different. I'm ready for something different now. The style is very fun for me to build in, but it's also not very colorful, and it does feel a little bit limiting at times because there's just a certain, you know, I don't want to go against the style, so doesn't make sense to have a lot of colors in this zoo. I try to stick to a few colors, and And overall, it has been, as I said, very, very fun to build. It's definitely my favorite project that I've done to date, mostly because it's the only project I've ever gotten this close to finishing before, and I love seeing how everything is coming together. Like, sometimes I go in my game and I just look around and I'm like, nice. Looks good. Which, you know, if I don't like my own work, then why would I expect anyone else to? But this Treetop Cafe is very nearly finished now, so you will get to see some exciting cinematics of that at the end of this episode, though, as I said, the billboards and things will not be done, so sorry for the black screen element of the cinematic there. But otherwise, that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of this video as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content from me. You can also check the playlist for all of the previous and future speed builds in this series. I post them all in the speed build, including the shorts, which are out now. So if you're looking for just a cinematic or some more short form content, check out the shorts for this speed build. And with that, I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!